Well, hello and welcome to the very first episode of our new podcast where we delve into the essentials of branding for schools. I'm your host of the Brand Aide Marketing Podcast, Devin Goff, the founder and CEO of Brand Aide Marketing. And we're going to be exploring why branding is crucial for your school's success, as well as how you can effectively build and manage your brand. So let's just jump right into it. I'm excited to have you with me today, and I hope that you find some value in what it is that we're talking about today. And over the course of all these episodes, as I'm aiming this to really bring value to superintendents, principals, school leaders, everybody that's involved in making the school successful. So let's talk about understanding school branding, all right? So what is branding? Branding in a nutshell is about creating a unique image and identity for your school in the mind of your audience. Let's say that one more time. Making sure that you are creating a unique image and identity for your school in the mind of your audience. You see, a strong brand influences people's perceptions. A strong brand drives enrollment. A strong brand builds community support, which in this day and age is absolutely essential for this competitive educational, or within this competitive educational landscape. A school's brand includes several different elements. So let's talk about what those elements are. You have the logo, which a lot of people know that, the logo, which should be memorable and reflective of your school's ethos. Then you also have the mission statement, which clearly communicates your educational goals and your values. And then there is your overall visual identity, which includes your colors, your fonts, any imagery used in your overall marketing materials, okay? So let's break each one of these things down, because as we are talking about building brand building basics for schools, it's important that you build a strong brand identity. So what is mission and values? And a lot of people, you may have this, you may not have it, you may think it's important, you may not think it's important, but I can tell you, it really is the building block upon which everything else exists. So you start by literally articulating what your school stands for. If your school stands for, creating a thriving environment that it's safe for all of your scholars, then you need to have that be part of your mission statement. What are your core values? What promises are you making to your students and their families? This type of clarity that's articulated very clearly and concisely in your mission statement helps you resonate more deeply with your community. Because ultimately, you are identifying what their fears are, but you're also providing the solution to those fears through your value proposition. Then there is the visual identity. Your visual identity should be consistent across all channels. It should be consistent across all of your materials. I'm talking about from your website to even your school uniforms. All right? This consistency helps to reinforce your brand's presence. And ultimately, it makes your school instantly recognizable. You know how it is when you see that bullseye, that red bullseye in particular, right? You know exactly what it is. Target, or as you may call it, Target, with your bougie self, all right? So you know that just by identifying the brand. But then when you get into the store, guess what? Every employee has on that red shirt and those khakis, all right? It is reinforcing that visual brand identity at every turn of the place. We won't even talk about the environmental branding and how that red color is infiltrated around the entire environment of the store. But let's move on. The other part of it is your voice and messaging. Yes, your voice and messaging. See, it's not just what you say, but the way you communicate, whether in print, online, or even in person. Let me tell you something. It should reflect your brand's personality. Is your tone formal or is it friendly? What kind of language are you using? All these things are important. See, tailoring your voice helps in connecting with your audience, whether they're prospective student, parents, or staff. I thought this was very interesting. So this weekend, or the past few days, I'm here in the city of Detroit, and we've been hosting the NFL draft. The commercials leading up to the draft have been very interesting because as the NFL is preparing to come to Detroit, you would see these commercials with Eminem, Detroit hometown favorite, with the NFL commissioner, Roger Goodell. And I thought that it was interesting because they took this approach about talking about tone and messaging. What was Roger Goodell going to say when he first came out to greet the city of Detroit? And so he's using all these trying to be hip colloquialisms. What up, Detroit? Right? Again. And then finally, he says a couple more, welcome to the D, And then finally, Eminem just says, why don't you just say, hello, Detroit? You have to be authentic to your brand's voice and messaging. Yes, you want to connect, you want it to resonate with your audience, but the best way for anything to resonate is for you to be authentic to your voice and your message. Now let's talk about implementing branding strategies. Now that you have what it is that you want to do, it's not enough just to know what you want to do. You have to actually implement it. All right? So I want to approach this from 3 standpoints. You have internal branding, you have external marketing, and then I want to talk about consistency. So let's talk about internal. Internal branding, you have to ensure that every person, from the front office secretary or office administrator to the principal, to your deans if you have those, to every teacher, to your custodians, to your lunch staff, to the superintendent of the school, even to your board members. Let me tell you, you need to ensure that everyone within your school understands the brand and embodies it at every interaction. They have to embody it at every interaction. The internal alignment, as it were, is crucial. Let me tell you something. When you have a team that's not aligned, it can do more damage than a person putting a negative review on you on Google or Yelp. When you are not aligned internally, it can be damaging. And so this internal alignment is critical for conveying the coherent brand externally. All right? So that's the internal branding. Now we have the external marketing. I don't care what you're using. You can utilize various channels like social media, your community events, traditional advertising methods such as direct mailers, out-of-home billboards, whatever it is. They have to convey your brand's message to a broader audience. See, effective external marketing not only attracts people, it not only attracts prospects to your school, but it also engages the surrounding community. And you need that to build what we call brand equity among your community or within your community. The last thing that I want to say about this is consistency is key. Consistency is key. You got to keep your branding consistent. Regular checks and balances. We provide a service at Brand Aide Marketing called brand audits for schools. All right? All these things can help ensure that your school's brand remains strong and clear across all your touch points, across all your channels. This is vitally important. Before we close this episode today, I want to talk about evaluating the brand's impact. All right? Evaluating the brand's impact. I can't stress enough how important having feedback mechanisms are for your school. It's vital to understand how your brand is perceived. So regularly solicit feedback from your school's community through surveys, focus groups, and even informal conversations. If one of the core values of your school is safety, or to provide a nurturing and safe environment for your school or for your students, you need to ask your families, ask your parents, does your child feel safe here? If they say no, then guess what? Maybe you need to go back to the drawing board and look at ways that you can make sure that your core value of your brand is front and center, that you are actually delivering on it. And you can only do that through effectively evaluating the brand's impact. Brand audits. I talked about brand audits a moment ago. Periodic brand audits will provide you ways to assess how well your brand is being communicated and where adjustments might need to be made. Now, this can involve reviewing your marketing materials. Sometimes you just need to look at, if you still are doing brochures, review the brochures. If you have a website, make sure that you are constantly reviewing that website and looking at ways to ensure that you can improve upon what's there. Your digital presence. Is your information across all the various search engines? Most schools don't even understand that there are 65 plus. I think it's over 90 search engines that people are searching today. Is your information consistent across all those search engines? And even the physical environment of the school. Listen, environmental branding is vitally important. It helps to extend the message of your core values, extend the message of your mission statement or the brand promise into the hearts and the minds of your scholars and your staff on a daily basis. The last thing that I would say about this evaluating the brand impact is, consider the impact of successful branding efforts seen in other schools, where enhanced brand perception has led to increased enrollment, high retention rates, great community involvement. These type of stories can serve as inspiration and validation in your branding efforts. So, again, today's episode was clear about this. We covered the basics of building a strong brand for your school. And I want you to remember, a well-crafted brand can significantly enhance your school's visibility, your school's appeal, which ultimately leads to increased enrollment and high retention rates of your families. So if you have any questions or if you want more detailed advice on specific aspects of school branding, hey, feel free to reach out to us through our podcast email that is included in the description on this podcast or on this YouTube video. And we'll be sure to connect with you on a deeper level and help you with whatever it is that you may need assistance in. We're here at Brand Aide Marketing to aid you in making sure that your school's brand is elevated to a level to where you have the highest and most successful impact in your community. Don't forget to tune in next time, because we're going to be talking about and exploring effective enrollment strategies. It's going to be a wonderful time. Till next time, thank you.